All right. So hello everybody. This is Lucy, the Phoenix Rising. I have a wonderful person with me today, Jerome Shaw. Hello, Jerome. Jerome is a student of the Pranic path, seeking to inspire others to the practice of, let me see if I pronounce it right, Qigong with my French accent. It's Qigong, right? Okay,
Qigong.
perfect. And fasting. Yeah, I've been having trouble pronouncing this word. So welcome, Jerome. So how you feeling today?
Oh, feeling wonderful. It's feeling amazing. Just, enjoying the day. It's a nice little windy day out here in Texas, and we're enjoying it.
Also, you're in Texas. Oh,
Hmm.
wow. Where in Texas? Where are you?
San Antonio region. Yeah.
Ah, I see. So we're far away from each other. I'm in the north side of Canada. It's
Okay.
just touching like Ohio. Ohio is right beneath me, and I'm right above it. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Jerome, let's talk about your past. Take us there. How did it all started with this the spiritual journey, basically? How did it all started for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Good question, Lucy. I think that my, my upbringing was more religious. So I was used to going to church when I was a lot younger. Both of my parents, they would take me to their different churches. My dad would be the regular Christian going to church on Sundays. My mom was Seventh-day Adventist, so we would go to church on Saturdays. And so it was a lot about the Bible, a lot about scripture, a lot about Jesus, and, just living godly, living godlike. And then later on in my life, I stopped going to church after a while, a good amount of time. But I feel like spirituality started to come into the fold when I started meditating, when I learned meditation. And that was during a time of intense frustration. Like I was yeah, very dissatisfied with my life, very unfulfilled. I felt a lot of lack. I didn't feel much abundance within me or outside of me. I didn't see it in my reality and I didn't have it in my mentality. So when I started meditating, and I found that through a couple of apps on this technology here, it was one of them was called Insight Timer, and the other one was called Headspace. And they just taught me to, ironically, sit down and just do nothing, just listen to your mind, listen to your body, listen to your breath, feel your heart. And that's where I would start. And the more that I did that, the more things started to fall away, the more the frustration would let go. Each meditation, I would feel a raise in vibration, and I would have a difference in relation to the other people that I would be in communication, with in the congregation, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it was a nice feeling of peace, of inner peace, and that's when I learned that peace is an inside job. And then when I separated from a lifelong partner, a partner of mine, we were together for 10 years. After a decade, we separated, and it felt like a part of me had separated. Like we had become intertwined and joined together for so long that when we split, it was like my mind was split, my consciousness was split, my being was split, and even my purpose, my what I felt like I was here for, I didn't know anymore.
Look like a
And I
part of
went off.
you went with her.
Exactly, exactly. So from there, I drove to California, and that's really when the spiritual journey started in earnest. And that was in like 2018, 2019. So right around the same time, but a couple years after. That's when I found some monks and nuns from Myanmar. They brought me into their meditation center, treated me better than some of my family members have even treated, their own blood, Like they treated me like family. It was amazing. They just touched me in so many ways, and I'm still in contact with them today, and they still have those meditation centers that they brought me into. And that was when I learned about pranic living, breatharianism, living on light. These terms, this terminology was not in my mind. It was not,
Of
I
course.
didn't even know about that. So that's when all those things came online, when I learned about fasting, detoxing, letting go. And yeah, that's when I started to flow a lot better and I started to grow a lot more. So thank you for asking. Yeah,
No problem. It was like a rebirth for you then, basically, because you went
absolutely.
from a different spirituality to now something that you felt more connected to. And it was brand new to you, like you were saying, fasting, breatharian, prana breathing, meditation, all of this. Uh, it happens like it happened fast though, right? In a way.
It feels like it, when I look back on the way that I was living before, it seems like a past life now. It seems like a different incarnation. It seems like a different person, but I know that it was me, but it was like I was living so differently back then that I wouldn't have recognized who I am today. Yeah.
It's like a different person back then. Now you're like a whole new different person, basically.
It feels that way. Yeah.
Wow. And speaking of Seven-Day Adventist, that's something you grew up with all your life, like going to church on Saturdays. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, like doing the Sabbath as well.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
And do you still have an attachment to Seven Days Adventist a little bit? Not even, or
Well, my family does. I haven't, it's been a while since I've really had that attachment. That's how I was raised. I mean, they still do it. So I've gone to church with them every now and then when I was visiting them in California. But other than that, I don't regularly practice or regularly go. Yeah,
do
no.
they accept you as you are right now?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for, and it took a little bit because of course when I was starting to fast and let go, the the perception of me that they had in their mind, that they had in their heart, was changing, and so it was almost like I died. The Jerome that was before died to them, so now I'm kind of different, but they accepted me as I am. So I appreciate that, because they were very concerned at different points. They were very, very worried. So
Of
yeah.
course, because you're taking a different path. There's meditation involved, and with the
Mhm.
Seven-Day Adventists, they don't really focus on that. They focus more on the journey with Jesus more, or God in a different way. And there's certain rules to follow as well with this faith, right?
Right.
Yeah, we have a bit of similar uh we had a bit of similar past. I was born and raised in the Catholic Church, but you was Seven Days Adventist. But I also went to Seven Days Adventist churches a couple of times because I have
Mhm.
part of my family is still practicing that faith. So I ended up going there as a kid. So I kind of know how it was, a couple of hours at the church on Saturdays, waking up early. And then, yeah, I think on Fridays you could not watch any TV after 7 p.m.
Mhm.
or any radio. Everything was shut down, right? Because it was the Sabbath that was starting.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, so I
Wow.
couldn't play video games after the sun went down, nothing like that. Yeah.
Nothing like that. Okay. All right. Well, I have a question for you. You call yourself a student of the Pranic Palace because you still did you do any studies, or it's just with the practice you still feel like you're a student. You're still learning every day about the pranic path. And
Absolutely.
how, yeah,
Hmm.
how
Absolutely.
how has this influenced your journey, and your perspective on meditation and its role in your daily life?
In so many ways, in so many ways, it's definitely influenced my perspective and my perception, the way that I see things differently. Even just with a different lifestyle, with a different diet, with a different level of consumption, it's completely different.
Different, yeah?
So yeah, I different in the aspect of, so I went from eating, totally like carnivorous, raised eating everything, all animal products, animal flesh, everything. And it really didn't hit me until I saw a documentary called Earthlings. Once
Mm,
I saw that documentary, and it was a vegan documentary, just advocating for veganism and for just the 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 cessation of the cruelty of the animals. That's when I saw all these things that I used to eat in the grocery stores. I saw them completely differently. It was like a veil had opened up, and I was like, oh my God, it looked like dead bodies. Before it didn't feel like I was eating dead bodies. Now it felt like I was eating dead bodies.
Mm.
And I was looking at vultures that were picking at dead flesh on the street. They call it roadkill out here. And I thought, that's like me. Am I doing something different? Am I missing? What am I missing here? I'm just eating this dressed up, dead carcasses, these dead corpses that I'm putting all these condiments and sauces and seasonings on them, and just it blew my mind. I felt like I had been living a lie my entire life. So that was a level, that was one of the levels that I kind of went through, that kind of identity crisis and the disassociation with what have I been doing all this time, you know? So yeah, that was a big eye opener. Yeah.
Wow, that's so powerful. That yeah, that you just by looking at this document, it was a documentary basically, and just by seeing that, it made you ask that question, like, what have I
Mhm.
been doing all those years? Like, how did I do that? How, I feel you on that too. It's a big awakening, right? Because
Mhm.
before it's like you were not seeing the whole picture, but now it's like your eyes are wide open. Now you see. Yeah.
A lot a lot more open than they were. Before it felt like I was completely blind, just
Hmm.
trusting everything, trusting, never asking those questions. And now, it feels like I'm happy for that skepticism. I'm happy that I became that skeptic and that hyper aware of what I was doing, to be able to ask the question that led me to more answers. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, that's great. And how does this spiritual journey have impacted your overall well-being?
In a lot of ways, it's given me a lot of happiness, a lot of hopefulness for the future. It's given me a lot of inner joy, inner peace. It's allowed me to radiate that, to emanate that wherever I go. I enjoy connecting with people on a level where before there was really no concern for other people's lives, other people around me. I didn't really go out of my way to extend a kind word, to give a smile, to encourage, to empower, to uplift, to enlighten, to teach, to reach other people. It wasn't like I would go out of my way. Now it's just part of who I am, to go out of my way to connect with other people. And I feel like that's part of the reason why I'm here. So any way that I can, through these mediums, through these platforms, I seek to do that. Yeah.
You seek
And I think
you
that's
share your
that's
message.
even how we connected. Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. Yes, that's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's energy exchange. It's an energy. It's like, oh wow. I see his soul. I see his light. He like, oh, we're like all drawn to each other, you know? I love that. I love that. Um, and overall, like for mental clarity and spiritual growth, like how does the fasting practice um been for you? Like, did you find any challenges, like, or was it rewarding, or like what's a routine for you with the fasting?
Sometimes they say, the ball has to hit the ground before it bounces, you know? So certain things definitely had to get worse before they got better, so to speak. It was like I had to go through a level of detox and descension before the ascension. Before I felt more energy, before I felt more alive, before I felt like I was thriving, before I felt like, you know, I had so much vitality within my body. I had to let go of a lot of inner, you know, sewage. It was like a lot of gunk that was clogging, my body. It was like you don't receive so much guidance when the gut intuition is blocked. So within my body, I mean, I had no idea. I had no idea. I was thinking, I come from, macaroni and cheese and hot dogs, all sorts of stuff, and like all sorts of stuff that I was eating continuously that was just blocking myself up. I thought that was normal. The way that I existed was my normal. So all the whole Pepto-Bismol. I don't know if you ever seen the
Oh, of
Pepto-Bismol.
course.
Yeah. So everything that they talk about, like upset stomach, diarrhea, indigestion, constipation, like all of the stuff that they list off, that was normal for me. I didn't know that that was. I thought everybody dealt with that. You
Me too.
know, I didn't know that there was a way of living that I didn't have to deal with that. I was like, what? You mean I don't have to? You know, like,
Right?
you, like I thought that was normal. You know, so when all of that stuff let go and my body started to flow more efficiently, you know, more effectively, it blew my mind. I didn't know I could feel that good. I was like, okay, I have less brain fog, I have more energy, more clarity, more
Wow.
focus. Not only do I know what I need to do, but I have the energy to do it. Right? That was the disconnect. It was like there were things that I wanted to do, I wished I could do, I felt I could do, but it was like my reach always exceeded my grasp. You know, I couldn't hold on to these things. They were always kind of ephemeral. They were off in the distance, like, oh, they can do that. It's that's for that type of person, but not me. Oh, that's for him, that's for her, but I'm not like that. You know, that's
Yeah.
not. So when I started letting go, everything started coming in, and I felt so good that I actually, honestly, I was afraid to go back to eating. I was afraid to go back to solid food after fasting for so long. So, like, the way that I was feeling, like what I felt before just felt wrong. It was like, whoa, what else don't I know?
Oh my gosh, exactly. What else that I don't know? And
Yeah,
how long
yeah.
did you fast though? How long? For how long?
So the first time I started was in 2019. That's when I went on a 1 month. I was only gonna go 1 month, Lucy. And this was I was inspired by people who had been doing it for years. You know, the monks in the monastery, they told me the chief monk, Sayadaw, he's still alive today, and he
Mm,
walks and is in Burma. He had been living on liquid, so a liquid lifestyle for 2 years at that time. And I was like, what do you mean? Liquid? What do you mean? And they
yeah.
said, yeah, he doesn't have any solid food. He just all liquid. I was like, what? I didn't even know that was possible. So when I started doing research, started going up on the computer and looking up what is this, what liquidarianism, breatharianism, like all this stuff. When I did my first fast, I was thinking, oh, I could do this. I could do 1 month. He did 2 years. I could do 1 month. And
Gosh.
the people around me were like, no, that's too long. Don't do that.
Like,
they're
hmm.
like 1 month is too long. Lucy, after the second week, solid matter was still coming out my body. And after the second week of no food, nothing solid was going in, but solid things were still coming out. So that showed me like how much capacity we have for storage. That you talk about the small intestine and the large
Yes,
intestine and the colon itself, the colon, how much capacity we have to hold on to these things. We don't realize, we
I know.
greatly underestimate how much we can hold on. So when I was letting all of this stuff go and feeling more energy, feeling more vibrant, and sleeping a lot less, I was sleeping, maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, and
Okay.
I was feeling recharged. My body was ready to go. It was like the cell phone was at 100%, you know, and I was waking up and the sun had not come up yet. So I'm questioning. I'm asking myself, there's no way. There's no way. Like why am I upright? Why am I awake right now? I'm
It's
not
like, huh?
supposed to be awake. Like everybody else was sleeping and I was awake and my body was telling me, it's like, yeah, we're ready to go. But
Ay,
this only happened when I started fasting. So after that point, when I got to a month, I was feeling so good. I didn't want to stop. So I continued it to 3 months after that. So I extended it to 3 months, no food. And then after that, I went back in, I went up and down, in and out, back and forth. And so now it feels like more of a continuum. Where I am now, it feels like I found my rhythm. I found
you
my
found your
momentum.
rhythm.
Yeah.
Were
Yeah.
you drinking any juice? Were you juicing?
Yes. So I was having juice and tea. Yeah, juice and teas at the time.
Oh, so juices. And Any cravings that happen in your mind? Were you like feeling any emotional detox?
Absolutely. So, you know, with all the stuff that I had consumed, the sugars, the salts, the spices, the everything, I didn't understand really about emotional eating. So I didn't really understand, like there were times where, I would just be bored or maybe have nervous energy or restless energy. And I was kind of pushing it down by consuming more food.
Mm.
Maybe I would be sad, or maybe I would be, just in a state where I was depressed and I was eating something sweet. Or maybe I'd be angry and I'd be eating spicy things. And, I didn't understand like the things that I was craving, the crunchy chips and the spicy wings and all these things. There was always a reason why I was craving this, not only physically, because of course, I was harboring parasites and, all sorts of stuff was
Yeah, of
breeding around, for parasites and all sorts that was growing in my body,
course.
but also the emotions that I wasn't addressing. And I wasn't allowing to really just let that breath just sit. I wasn't allowing myself to sit with my emotions, to acknowledge them, to give them my listening ear, to give them my attentiveness, and to say, I hear you, I see you, I feel you, and to let that emotion release. Yeah, I think children really know how to do this. Children laugh, children cry,
Yes.
they let those tears, they shed their emotions, they just release it, and it just gets off of the body. But for a lot of years I never shed tears. For many years, I
I
didn't
get it.
cry. So holding all of that in, suppressing, it can get very depressing when you're always suppressing. Yeah.
Of course, because it might come out someday at a wrong moment. You might just explode because you've kept everything inside,
Time bomb. I was a
like a
ticking
time
time.
bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And did it ever happen to you? Like, did you hold so much emotions inside that was there a day or did something happen for you to release it, or did you explode?
So there were times where I did explode, and I can recall them. And luckily, I did come into contact with a sport, boxing. So there was a time where I was boxing very heavily in the gym.
That's
And
good.
so that actually got a lot of my anger and aggression and frustration out in a physical way. So it was a form of exercise for me to do that really got a lot of that out. And I needed it at that time. And I'm so thankful that I had it, because I probably would have blown up
Hmm.
in worse ways than I did. Yeah,
Worst
worse.
ways, right?
Hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I see that you're dancing a lot on old school skates. It's quite unique, by the way, because I'm like, it's old school skates, and I love it because are you like channeling anything? Are you like expressing your spirituality with that too? Or like, how do you integrate like the movement and the spiritual practice, like, and all this? Like, I feel like it's part of you when I see you on skates, like a form of meditation.
Well, you said it. You said it, Lucy. So for me, I enjoy it as a meditation, like a moving meditation, you know? So it's like meditation in movement, meditation in motion. And that gives me more, much more love and devotion when I feel that meditation in motion. And it helps with the emotions because that's the energy in motion, you know?
Mm.
So yeah, roller skating, my dad taught me how to roller skate at a young age, and I just continued, I just continued it.
You just
Yeah.
continue it, and you're doing it on a daily basis. Is it like a normal
No,
thing?
weekly I do go to a roller skating rink around the way. There's a roller skating rink not too far from here. But yeah, wherever I am, if I travel, if I can find one, it's nice. It's always nice to find one around me. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's good. And I have somebody that asked you a question. They said, how has your exploration of the pranic path deepened your understanding and connecting with the higher self? And how
Mm.
do you incorporate this understanding into your daily spiritual practices?
Great question. Who did you say asked that question?
Let's see. Okay, I can't even see the name. Okay, well.
No
I'll
worries.
figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So they said the connection to the higher self, is that what
Yeah,
it was?
exactly. How is the this whole spiritual journey, how did it deepen your connection and your understanding of the higher self?
I'm still deepening my understanding. I'm still learning. So I that's why I say I'm a lifelong student of this. I'm figuring out what it means to be connected with your higher self because as you were talking about in our last conversation about angels,
Yes.
guardian angels, I can recall a couple instances where I was woken up by a voice
Mm.
and I felt like it was an angel that was waking me up. And I remember even hearing a name. There was a name named Gabriel. And I was like,
Oh,
should I look this name up? Like, what does this mean? And I've met people in my life at certain instances, and especially while I was fasting and letting go, where they felt like angels in my existence. Like they felt like angels in my outfield, that's coming to give me a message, and then they vanished. Like they were gone.
nice.
Gone, Lucy, gone.
On.
Like they would come up, I would meet somebody, he would deliver a message, and then by the time I would turn around, he was gone. you know so it
Oh my
gave me
God.
chills. It was like I got chills, and now when that happens to me, I don't question it. I know.
You don't
Yeah,
question it now. You're just like, okay, yeah.
yeah, I
Oh
don't
my
question
God.
it anymore.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. It's true because sometimes they will just show up in a human form, right?
Right.
And then they're gonna
Right.
give you a message, and then you turn around and they're gone.
Gone.
They were
Gone.
there for a reason.
Yes, I believe it.
Yeah,
I
it happened to me a couple of times too when I was younger as well. And it's just like,
Mhm.
where's that person now? Okay, so what was the point? Okay, this,
Right.
yeah, very magical. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. And I do believe that your journey includes overcoming some addictions, right, in the past. And how has your spiritual path and practices like fasting helps you in this aspect of personal transformation?
Yeah, so fasting definitely helped me overcome a lot of food addictions. Even though I called it fasting in the beginning, I call it pranic living now because it's more of a lifestyle. Fasting does have a connotation of deprivation. People usually link and make a connection with fasting and depriving themselves of something for maybe spiritual evolution or a more connection with their body or their higher self or their spirit. Now I practice pranic living for not only just my enjoyment of the state, my awareness, the way that I feel, but also what it reveals and also what it heals. It can heal past traumas, it can heal things that we have been weighted down, just a lot of baggage that we've been holding on our shoulders. And we carry that as we grow older. We carry that and it just continues if we don't address it.
That's right.
So chronic living has given me a lot more, just a lot more oomph in my spirit to let someone else understand that this is a viable way of living. There are people that, I mean, when they see me not eating, it's very uncomfortable, for them to
Mm,
witness somebody not doing something that the majority of people are doing every day. And I was doing it every day. So now that I'm not doing it, it's very like, it's interesting to see the effect that it plays out on other people. So yeah, it's just for me, it gives me a lot more reasons to explore and to learn much more. It put me back at base level to say, okay, I know nothing. I don't know, like, how much more don't I know? Like, just show me. Because if
right?
I had more if I had had more education when it came to nutrition, when it came to the things that I thought my body needed to survive, to even exist, to even be breathing and talking with you, I would have never gone this far. You know, I would have never gotten here if I hadn't had the ignorance. I was ignorant of what I thought it needed, you know?
I think we
So
all
since I,
are.
yeah.
Right?
So since I didn't have that education, you know, it allowed me to reach a new state, and now I feel great. So thank you. Thank you for asking.
Oh,
Yeah.
no problem. And what about like your environment like now? Do you go out to those social events where people invite you to the restaurant? And how are you, like, how you present yourself? I mean, like, do people accept you for who you are, just if you're fasting or if you're eating differently than them?
Right. So, now I can just, find something on the menu like some orange juice or something. Actually, that's what I had. So that recently we were at a funeral,
Mhm.
and for one of my uncles, he passed last year, and the whole family was there. And after the funeral gathering, we all went to the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh,
And
oh,
it was a long stretch. Like the table was long. It was like from over there to over there. It was the whole family sitting at the table, and I'm sitting at the table. Everybody's eating everything, pastas, everything. People are eating all sorts of stuff. And I just had a glass of orange juice, in front of me. That was it, you know? And so, people were kind of giving me looks every now and then, but they were so focused on what they were eating, they didn't really care that much, you know?
they didn't notice, like, hey, he's just drinking.
Yeah. What I realized is that they just want to see something in front of you.
Hmm.
So it's just the disconnect between not having anything. When there was nothing in front of me, that's when people were kind of uncomfortable, like when I had nothing. So now that I at least have a glass of something in front of me, it makes people less uncomfortable, and they feel like okay, like we're the same. We don't feel
We're the
so
same.
alienated from each other. Yeah.
That's right. And you still have the same circle of friends, or did it change when your whole spiritual journey evolved?
Good question, Lucy. So that definitely changed, you know, since vibrationally, and they say what you do frequently is your frequency, you know? What you do frequently becomes your frequency. So since I wasn't doing those things that I used to do frequently, that no longer was in my frequency, that no longer was in my resonance.
Of course.
Now, people that used to be in my resonance, a lot of them have kind of we've fallen out of contact, we've kind of fallen out of, communication. We don't really have any conversations. They see me, there's no love lost, but yeah, there's a lot of people that I thought were like lifelong friends that now they're just kind of gone back to, we don't really speak anymore.
Okay.
But those were some of the things that yeah, I had to learn about, that when you change, sometimes the things around you change, and
I can relate.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So because your life changed, your whole life or outside of you changes too. It's like a whole major detox. But it's like you're inviting new people into your life that are on the same frequency as you or higher. Yeah. So
got
that's
it.
amazing. And any
Yeah.
like dreams, as your dreams become more vivid, do you have any messages? Do you remember them?
So dreams do become more lucid, I feel, when there's less on my stomach. So since I've been living this way for quite some time now, my dreams have become more lucid, more vivid. I feel like you know, there used to be so many times where I was just comatose. I could never remember my dreams. And now when I do recall my dreams, it feels so real. It feels like just like this reality, like I
Yes.
was in the astral realm, but it was as real as this. So I love when I get a message, when I get a dream that I feel connected. And then also when other people tell me that they've seen me in their dreams as well. That's been a common thing in this lifestyle
Oh,
that
that's big.
never was before. And I'm like, I'm popping up in people's dreams, and like, what does it all mean?
You're
So
busy.
yeah, so that's been interesting to see that as well.
Right?
Yeah.
Because your soul is busy at night. Apparently, when we go to sleep, our body goes to sleep, but our soul is doing a lot of energy work. So people are seeing you is because you're doing some work in the other realms right now. So yeah,
I'll,
it's like a astral projection, basically.
right, right. I'll
Yes,
take
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. So take us into a typical day for you. Like, how do you start your day?
So we'll usually start either like stretching, meditation, we'll do a qigong session, walking. So walking, I'm very religious about walking now. It's become, very like a ritual, a regimen, a practice with walking, also reading. So I do a lot of reading books. I go to the library
Wow.
and I pick up books, I drop off books, and I'm always engaging my mind, learning something that I can pass on to the next person and that can take me somewhere else. And yeah, as well as just the meditation, the exercise, the learning, and the content creation of how can I put out a message, how can I, put out something positive for somebody. That's just been so intentional lately that it's allowed me to receive more than I could have ever imagined because you're giving, and so your hands are in the same position to receive because you're always giving.
That's
So your
right.
hands are always open to give, so you're always open to receive. And I didn't know that the two go hand in hand, that to be able to receive, I have to be willing to give. So that's the way that I choose to live. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so inspiring. You're going to the library, you're reading a book, you have time to, oh my God. I don't think I've held a book for a while, and I find it really fascinating that you're reading, holding, going to the library. I miss doing that. And sometimes we just get cut off so much with the technology and just staying in front of a computer all day and our phones that we forget to do the simple things like we used to do when we were kids, reading a book. I have a library looking at me right now with a bunch of books. Just because you said that, you inspired me. It's like, come on, there's a time during your day that you can actually read for at least 30 minutes or an hour. So thank you for that. Thank you. It's possible, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And can you let me know about your group a bit? Because I see it on Instagram. You are inspiring a lot of people. You're putting content. What is it about the support group?
So the support group is not my own. I'm a contributor.
Contributor.
So
Okay.
Nabiha, she invited me as a contributor to the support group. So that's fasting and support or fasting and detox support for people who want to, have support during their journey or during their path or during their fasting sessions, their detox sessions, something to keep you in your own progression. So that's been also just motivational, inspirational for me to like just put up content or just tell stories or to just talk about something that is vulnerable for you, but something that maybe you realize that maybe this will touch somebody. I don't know who needs to hear this,
Hmm.
but maybe somebody needs to hear this, you
That's
know?
right.
So that's what that group has been for that I can see.
I love
Yeah.
it because I see you do a lot of voice messages and it's very inspiring. And then I just tune in and I'm like, oh, okay, I needed to hear that today. Thank you. You know?
Um,
That's amazing. And where can people find you? Where can we contact you?
yeah, so I do have an Instagram. It's at jromeshaw. You can direct message me there. And yeah, I think all my links are in the bio there as well. So, or I think one link is there right now, the Patreon, and that's for people on the Pranic path, people who want to hear more about the lifestyle or learn more about, how do I continue this? What does this mean? Living on light, breatharian, like what do these things mean? That's for people who want to learn more about that. So that's in the bio. That's patreon.com/pranic path. And then for any questions, you can definitely ask, reach out to me whenever. Yeah.
Perfect. And yeah, I will link that all in the description box. And are you still are you doing the Breatharian work a lot? Like right now? Are you really into the Breatharian work?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it's part of my lifestyle now. Yeah.
Can you elaborate? Because I'm sure there's some viewers that probably gonna ask like, what is Breatharian? I still don't get it. What is a Breatharian?
So, there's a word, it's an ancient word, it's called inidia. And the word inidia, it means to eat very little or not at all. And in certain traditions, they might call it something different. Like I know in China they talk about bigu. In in India it's the Anidia way, or they talk about prana, the life force energy, or chi in China,
Gee,
ki, and in other places they talk about this life force energy, and it's all around us. Like even the sun, the solar energy that's giving life to the planet. So much life wouldn't exist without the sun, you
that's right.
know? So when I started doing Qigong and I started doing energy cultivation exercises and then letting go of food, at a certain point, my body started to make more of a switch where it learned that it could draw nourishment from this. So I was sun gazing, I was looking directly into the sunlight, and I received energy that way. I was holding my hands up, I was letting go, detoxing, but I was also, being nourished by the energy all around me in nature. That became another learning. And then there were just so many levels of enlightenment where I finally broke through the barrier of thinking that food gave me life. Because I thought that if you don't eat, you die. If you don't drink, you die.
Right?
And so when I went past a certain threshold, I realized, oh, that's not true. I'm still alive. How am I still alive?
Still
You
here.
know? Right. So now it's been quite some time since I had solid food, and it's been long enough for me to no longer question whether I need it or not. I know, I don't try to push this on other people, of course, because, you know, everyone's body is different, everybody is different, and people, they have to come into an understanding before they do something, or before they're demanding something on themselves. It was never a forced journey, it was a flow journey. So I had to learn to flow my way into a state of being that felt more freeing for me,
More
and
freeing.
feel different for everybody else. So I always tell people, go with what you enjoy. If you enjoy doing yoga, do that. If you enjoy dancing, do that. If you enjoy, qigong, or you have a different practice or meditation, that's going to be the foundation to realize that, food is only one source of energy. It's not the only source. And your body can learn to draw nourishment from other sources, to where you realize you can be self-sustained. You can be maintained and sustained on other sources of energy. It doesn't have to be food if you don't want it to be. So it's a choice. Yeah.
Thank you for that. You're looking at someone that had a food addiction, and just hearing that, it's like, whew,
Same.
I
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know, a relief just hearing that, it did something to me just hearing you say that, because it's
Okay.
true. It doesn't have to be all about food, you can still live. And we were taught that, yeah, I'm gonna survive if I eat this amount of food, or else I'm gonna die. But
Right.
wow, thank you. That was so inspiring, so much. And any final words you want to tell your viewers? Any final words?
Just
Encouragement?
thank you. Just gratitude for you, Lucy. Thank you for having me on here, having me on your show. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for everyone watching. And I trust that, you got something out of it, that you felt,
Oh,
that you
yes.
feel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerome. And I do believe you have a YouTube channel too, as well, right? Uh,
Yes. Mhm.
Perfect. What is the name of your YouTube channel?
It's my name. It's Jerome Shaw. So just Jerome Shaw, JeromeShaw, and you'll find me.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in with me here and talking with me. It was so inspiring. I feel like a little bit of a weight has been lifted off for me just hearing you say those things. It's it's like we have to. It's like we're working together, but it's like we fuel each other up, like with those conversation. And I don't know how to explain it, but wow, I feel like, whew, amazing with our talk. So thank you for that. And for our viewers, yes, I will share that soon, and I will put all Jerome's information in the description box. So again, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome. Thank you for watching, everybody. See you next time. Bye.